Now, American broadcast journalist Amy Goodman is due in court on Monday to answer to rioting charges. The investigative multimedia reporter faces a prison sentence if convicted for covering protests against a controversial oil pipeline in North Dakota. Now, the $4 billion pipeline is planned to be built through sacred Native American sites and burial grounds. Thousands from that state and across the U.S. have been protesting, and dozens have been arrested on charges ranging from trespassing to rioting. Now, Amy Goodman joins us via Skype from Bismarck, North Dakota. Amy, you will be in court tomorrow facing the charge of rioting. How will you plead, and were you surprised by this charge?
Well, I certainly will plead not guilty if, in fact, they charge me with this. They originally, after we released this video, I am the anchor of Democracy Now! NewsHour. It was Labor Day weekend, September 3rd. We were following a group of Native American land and water protectors who were protesting the building of this $3.8 billion Dakota access pipeline, as they went and saw that the bulldozers were plowing up their sacred ground and told them to stop doing this. The pipeline security guards unleashed dogs on the protesters, who bit them as if it was 1963 Birmingham, Alabama. One of the dogs that we filmed had blood dripping from his nose and his mouth, and they kept pushing these dogs into the protesters. The video went viral. Over 14 million people immediately saw what took place. And 5 days later, well after I had left Dakota, they charged me with criminal trespass. I was not criminally trespassing. I came back this week to fight that charge, and as I landed in North Dakota, they dropped the charge, knowing full well they didn't have facts. And now they say that tomorrow they will charge me with rioting. I wasn't trespassing. I wasn't rioting. I was simply doing my job as a journalist.
Okay, but
to cover a violent attack on Native Americans.
Now, Amy, the state's attorney, Ladd Erickson, said, I quote, "You're not acting as a journalist and you're acting as a protester, basically." What is your reaction to this? And how does it sort of affect other journalists trying to cover situations like this?
This is a ludicrous statement. He said I wasn't acting as a journalist because I was giving voice to Native Americans. I was in the criminal complaint. It said I can be seen identifying myself and interviewing the protesters. It is not his job to evaluate content. We have a separation of responsibilities, and it's our job as journalists to hold those in power accountable. It's our job to go to where the silence is. And that's where it is in the media today. It is in this epic struggle of Native Americans who are taking on not only the pipeline and defending water, they say the Missouri River, the longest in North America, provides water to 10 million people, but also to deal with climate change and the terrible effects, fighting for a sustainable economy. I was simply interviewing them. Ladd Erickson knows that full well. He can see it on the videotape, as everyone can. He simply didn't like what the Native Americans were saying and what was being broadcast to the world.
Okay, and Amy, how much press coverage have these demonstrations had in the U.S.? And in terms of these kind of charges against journalists, how common are they in the U.S.?
It is not very common. But it is increasingly common here in North Dakota. One TV producer was just arrested and charged with 3 felonies. They want to silence a movement by silencing the reporters that are covering that movement. The rest of the media needs to get here now. This is an historic gathering of thousands of Native Americans who represent over 200 tribes from Latin America, the United States, and Canada. We haven't seen anything like this in decades. This is a key moment, especially after Hurricane Matthew, that devastated Haiti, over 1,000 deaths and scores of people killed in the United States. Native Americans are dealing with the issue of climate change. They're dealing with something now that is nothing less than the fate of the planet. And it's our job as journalists to be here despite the repression of the state. By the way, scores of Native American protesters, actually they call themselves protectors, have also been arrested. But as they increasingly go after journalists, we have to fight this.
All right, Amy Goodman, thank you very much indeed for your time.